This video is going to be coming out on May the 15th, Sunday, May the 15th, 2022, but I'm actually recording it on Saturday, May the 14th, 2022, which is the 14th day of the fourth month of the traditional East Asian calendar that's still followed in some Buddhist countries. Meaning tomorrow on the East Asian traditional calendar is full moon, which in the Buddhist tradition has a kind of a long history going all the way back to the beginning of being an important time of the month. In traditional South Asian forms of Buddhism, the full moon and the new moon are the days when the monks and nuns, the monastics and the monasteries would come together and remind themselves of the rules that they follow and sort of confess any infractions of the rules to the community. On the full moon in particular, what's called uposatha, lay folks will go to temples and spend the whole day at the temple. They wear all white clothes often, and they they follow a vegetarian diet in some cases for the day, and they will listen to teachings and sort of are more regimented in their behavior and sort of remind themselves of the commitments they've made as a lay Buddhist. So that's something that happens in a lot of South Asian countries where Buddhism is very predominant. In particular, since this is the day before the full moon, I actually just finished doing things I do every day before the full moon every month. I refilled the candle, the oil in the lamps, and I clean out the little stubby bits of incense stick out of the incense bowls, and I collect together the old water from the offering bowls and offer it to the memorial tree in the backyard and add fresh water so it's there for tomorrow, and kind of prepare things for the month, for the services and the rituals and the various things that are going to be happening for the month. This one, though, is a special uposatha. It's a special full moon. The 8th of the fourth month, just a week from tomorrow, was Buddha's birthday, which means that this full moon, the 15th day of the fourth month, is the beginning of what's called Angeo, which has, again, a long history that goes all the way back to kind of the earliest Buddhist community. In the original Buddhist community, when the Buddha was still alive, he taught the monastics that most of the year the monastics wandered. They went from place to place. They weren't supposed to spend more than a few days in any one place. But during the rainy season of the year, the monsoon season, they would all come together in just one place or a couple of places. They would gather together in community. They would practice together. The main reason why they did this was because during the rainy season, it's more dangerous to travel. It's much more difficult to sort of live outside in the forest under the trees as they often did. It's much harder to be walking around and not step on worms and bugs and various things. And that's a problem in terms of the following the precept of not taking life. So they were very careful about that sort of thing. So during the rainy season, they would come together and gather in one place and practice together. And then at the end of the rainy season, there were, again, special ceremonies, and then they would kind of go back to their wandering and then come back together the next year. When Buddhism went to China, the climate's a little different. The culture was very different. And so this idea of the rains retreat coming together for a couple of months during the rainy season developed into this practice called Angeo. And this is something that happens in Chinese Buddhism, in Korean Buddhism, Japanese Buddhism, I think in Vietnamese Buddhism too. It's spelled a little differently, but it's called Angeo in all of those places. And it turned into a twice a year retreat. Angeo is in the summertime, and Dongangeo is in the wintertime. And it's a 3-month period where, again, even today, it's pretty common for monastics, for monks and nuns to move around some, to go from one place to another, especially earlier in their careers, to go to one temple and for a few weeks and then go to a different temple for a few weeks and kind of move around a lot. But it's also common for them during Angeo to come to one place, often back to the temple where they were originally trained or some other temple, and kind of gather, spend 3 months of more intense practice, right? dedicating themselves more deeply to chanting or prayer or to meditation. And in some cases, they're committed. They make just such a strong commitment to this practice of Ango that they will go to that temple and they'll say, this is this building and kind of the courtyard right around this building. I'm going to stay right here for the next 3 months. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here in this place. I'm going to practice 12 hours a day. I'm going to sleep less. I'm going to eat less. I'm dedicating myself to the practice that I've committed to. So there's this interesting cycle that we have in the East Asian Buddhist traditions with this practice of Ango. 3 months of Ango, and then 3 months of sort of a little bit of relaxation, and then 3 months of Ango, and there's this practice of tightening and loosening, tighter practice, looser practice, right? Intense practice, less intense practice. So that's the way Ango works for the monastics, for the monks and nuns. For lay people, it's common for them to also use Ango as an opportunity to deepen their practice, to intensify their practice, maybe not for a whole 3-month period, but maybe making a point of doing retreats during Ango, or making a point of reminding themselves to do things every day that they intend to do, but maybe the rest of the year they're not quite as rigorous about, or maybe they're not quite as careful about, and sometimes they let themselves off the hook a little bit. So one of the advantages, one of the interesting things that this Ango practice has for lay people is it gives a lay person an opportunity, those of us who are home dwellers, lay people or clergy like myself who are home dwellers and aren't living in some monastery on top of some mountain somewhere in a temple, to have that opportunity to deepen the practice, to remind yourself. And in some cases, the payoff of that, the benefit of that, is it gives you an opportunity to restart, right? I intend to do this. I plan to do this. I kind of been lazy. I haven't done a good enough job. I made these commitments to do things, commitments to myself. Made these commitments to do things, and I haven't really stuck by them. But every 3 months, well, twice a year, right? Every 6 months when the Ango starts, you have the opportunity to, okay, I'm going to get my act together now, right? I'm going to remember the things I said I was going to do. I'm going to recommit myself to my practice. I'm going to re-intensify my commitment. I'm going to reinvigorate my intentions and my motivations and get back to the things that I know I want to do, that I know I should be doing. So it gives a person an opportunity. Twice a year, you have this chance to kind of reset, right? To kind of evaluate, reset, recommit, restart, or in some cases, to start, right? If you've got, good intentions, you say you want to do things, this is an opportunity. Ango is an opportunity to make that leap, right? To make that dedication. So if you've maybe slacked off a little bit on your practice, or maybe you talk a good game, but you haven't really walked it yet. You haven't really taken that step of engaging in practice and taking that action. Ango is an opportunity to really mean what you say and do what you say you're going to do, or to reinvigorate what maybe you've lost. So I encourage you to take the opportunity that Ango presents itself to find your practice or re-find your practice, dedicate or rededicate yourself to your path.